It's Tuesday, August 31st, 2021. Here we are on the last day of August. Can you believe that August is about done? Well, changes are coming as we leave August and head into September. The remains of Hurricane Nora are coming. Flash flooding concerns are going to be around over the next 48 hours for Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, parts of Wyoming. Another day, though, of smoke and haze. The smoke and haze got very thick yesterday in many areas, and it will be around for another day, but should ease with these changing weather patterns coming. Right now, the Labor Day weekend is looking pretty good for this region. I know a lot of folks will be camping, getting outdoors. In some parts of the Intermountain West, archery seasons are beginning, like in Wyoming. And so hunters will be heading out, folks will be out camping. And right now, the Labor Day weekend is shaping up to be good. Potentially, we see a mid-September cool down, not a permanent cool down, but mid-September showing as signs of a major change, and we'll take a look at that possibility. The satellite photos this morning really showing actually quite a bit. Here's the remains of Ida lifting north and east, bringing heavy rains in this swath here. A mesoscale convective complex bringing some significant rain and thunderstorm activity eastern Nebraska and Iowa. And then here we go. Here are the remains of Nora getting all the way up now, actually the northern edge of it, just creeping into extreme southwestern Wyoming. This high humidity air is getting drawn northward because up here, you can't see it on this satellite photo, but there's a low up here in British Columbia that's going to help draw that moisture, and that low is going to track across Montana, bringing a cool front, and there's going to be a merger of the cool front and that subtropical moisture over the next 48 hours across parts of the central Rockies. This morning, look at this. Rain in Southern California. Yeah. Down into the Inland Empire, down here by Temecula, down around San Diego, even into parts of LA County and all the way up to Ventura, and then out in the Mojave and across parts of the deserts of the southwestern United States, even Arizona. In fact, flash flooding is being reported between Tucson and Phoenix with that moisture from Nora coming up on in. The smoke, we mentioned the smoke at the beginning of this podcast, and here's the latest smoke map. And you can just see there's a concentration of the smoke from the Pacific Northwest and the California fires is coming right in. But as the upper level winds aloft begin the change coming in from the northwest, this should shunt some of the smoke down here in the coming days, helping out air quality right here with the weather pattern change that's coming. Now let's see how this moisture from Nora comes our way. This is as of this morning. This is a look at where the water vapor is the deepest, the best available moisture to produce rain. So you can see here in Southern California, Arizona, and Utah where it's raining now, and you're getting the thunderstorms in these blue areas here. This is expanding northward, but surrounding it, we got an arch of very, very dry air. But as we go forward into tomorrow morning, so about 24 hours from now, you can see that push northward. And like we showed you yesterday, there's this axis of really deep moisture right here. And this is where we're likely going to see the heaviest rain, or at least the potential for the heaviest rain. Now, this plume of moisture is going to rotate and move through fairly quickly because of the low up here in Montana is going to help push it along. So it's not going to linger for multiple days, at least the deeper moisture won't. But if you look at the predicted rainfall forecast through Friday afternoon, you can see the blue and the yellow and the darker greens here. This is where the concentration of the deepest monsoonal or subtropical moisture from Nora will be. And it's underneath these areas, especially the darker colors and over the mountainous terrain where flash flooding will be possible. Now, outside of this area, where you don't see as much yellow or blue or red, it doesn't mean it won't rain. It's just this is where the highest probability of the heavier rains are going to be. We're also going to see some pretty good shower and thunderstorm activity break out here in advance of that trough coming out of Montana as moisture from Nora gets stretched north and eastward into this region here. This is, as of this morning, the entire state of Arizona is under a flash flood watch. Look at that. Parts of western New Mexico, a large chunk of Utah, and there's the deserts of Southern California in a flash flood watch, and we got flash flood watches in effect now for the mountain areas of Colorado. We should probably expect maybe that to get extended north into the mountains of southern Wyoming as well. We are concerned that we're going to see a 24 to 36 hour period where flash flooding in the mountainous terrain of the central and southern Rockies and the desert Southwest is a high probability. It's something we've had a lot of this summer. Lots of roads washed out, Interstate 70 washed out earlier this summer. So be careful. In the burn scars, especially the Cameron Peak fire, the East Troublesome fire, and the Mullen fire burns in northern Colorado and southern Wyoming, we need to watch for flash flooding. This will be especially true Wednesday afternoon, overnight Wednesday into early Thursday. Now, by Wednesday morning, we start to see this trough move across Alberta and Saskatchewan and through the region. This is drawing that moisture northward. But if you look and see what happens as we go forward into Wednesday night, you see this little circle? It doesn't look like much, but that is basically a piece of NORA going right over south central Wyoming and northwest Colorado. So tomorrow night, Wednesday night into Thursday morning, there could be a concentration of heavy rain over the mountains of southern Wyoming and north central Colorado, something to keep an eye on. Since it's tropical in nature, you could have some heavy rain in not a huge area, but concentrated in a small area. By Friday, we have a more westerly flow coming in right here. That's going to bring temperatures down a bit with northwest winds right here. And then by Monday, northwest winds aloft are coming into the high plains and Rockies. So what will happen is we'll see the smoke in California get more concentrated here, get shunted off more to the south and west. Northwest winds aloft mean very comfortable temperatures in this region right here for Labor Day weekend, while the heat will be down in the desert states. Notice the center part of the country is a northwest flow as well. What this will do, thankfully, this will turn off the threat of hurricanes in this area here for a bit. When you get a trough like this in the Great Lakes and along the East Coast, you're not going to bring hurricanes in. You need the reverse to happen and get low pressure back here for the hurricane activity to pick up again. Now, as we go out, this is by next Tuesday and Wednesday, northwest flow aloft continues to move in. So temperatures to start off September east of the divide will be comfortable. West of the divide and into the Great Basin will be where the heat's going to be. This is going to be another hurricane, but it's going to go nowhere. It's just going to go up into here as this trough will drag it and move it up, so it won't be a threat to the East Coast. Now, this is that cool down I hinted at the beginning of the podcast. Long-range models are starting to line up of high pressure building up into the Gulf of Alaska again towards mid-September. We get that high, and as you remember, when you get high pressure in the Gulf of Alaska, the western U.S. starts to cool off. And we see a pretty potent low west of Hudson Bay and a good little spoke right here of energy and colder air behind it. And this could lead to a mid-September cool down. So that's something to take a look out for. Just kind of put that in the back of your mind. We'll keep an eye on this. But if you were to look for a September cold front that kind of really changes things to fall, that looks like when it's going to happen. And you can look at the forecasted temperatures relative to average by the 14th and 15th of September, and you can see the colder air is poised to come on in. But it's 15 days away from now. So you got to take it with a grain of salt. But hey, that's what's fun about this podcast. We can kind of stick our neck out and try to look as far as we possibly can. Precipitation-wise, this is one thing I wanted to show you. Over the next 45 days, the European model is showing some help in the Pacific Northwest and Northern California right here. It does look like mid to late September into October and November, it starts to get wet here again. There should be some help on the way by that time frame. However, it's going to be another couple of weeks before it gets there. Have yourself a great Tuesday and a great last day of August. We'll see you next month.